Hello and welcome this morning to Revesby Estate's Deer Park. You joined me this morning just checking on the fallow herd and make sure everything's okay with them, and also just place them a bit of supplementary feed out now we're getting into winter. So what we've got here at Revesby Estates is what is known as a parkland deer herd. You obviously can get wild deer, parkland deer and then farmed deer. So parkland deer sit very close to wild deer. The only difference being is this parkland, I don't know if you can see as I spin the camera around, is encompassed by a fence. So there's a perimeter fence running all the way around, which means the deer are contained within this parkland, hence parkland deer. But other than that, they are practically wild deer. They are not farmed. We don't manage the grass by moving them from one paddock to another. They are welcome to roam all around here. They're on about 120 acres at the moment, and that is their perimeter fence. They are free to come and go around there as they choose and see fit, eating the acorns off the trees, the branches as they fall. But we have an obligation, because they're within that perimeter fence, we have to look after the welfare of that deer. They can't go beyond that if their food starts getting scarce. So that is the only way we're actually intervening with here. There's no medications giving or anything like that. So we check on them daily, making sure they're okay, fresh water supply. And now, because it's getting close to winter, another week we'll actually be within winter, their food supply is getting low. The grass, there is still a good level of grass on here. We've had a good late autumn actually for growing. So we've got the grass, but the goodness is now leaving that grass. There isn't enough goodness within here. They've actually eaten all the acorns that are falling off the trees. So their food supply is starting to get a bit low. We actually make haylage from this grassland in the early part of summer, when there's an abundance of grass on here and the actual deer is too much for them to even be grazing as well. So rather than wasting that grass, we will make haylage off it, take that back to the yard, store it away until we get into the winter months. We can then feed them on the same grass they have been grazing on all through the spring and summer and autumn. They will continue feeding on that grass. So pretty much wild. We're then topping them up with supplementary nuts. I'll just show you those. So these are actually the deer nuts here. They'll get a couple of bags of these, just to make sure they're getting all the minerals they need. Because like I say, this grass is starting to run low now. They can't go with outside the perimeter fence. So this is basically spread out long thin lines for them, just to make sure the herd's being kept in good health. And talking of the herd, you can just see it stood down there. It's actually split into two sections. And there's another one just there, and then actually you can just see the haylage sat within them feeders there. So because they are a parkland deer and they're behaving like a wild deer, the fallow will actually come nowhere near. They will keep away. Red deer is different. Red deer, you can actually train them or come up to you, but our parkland deer act very much like wild fallow deer and are very flighty and are keeping well out of my way. So the deer at Revesby Estates here have actually been here for over 300 years now. It was in 1717 that the first Joseph Banks actually enclosed this deer park. So they've been here for a long old time. It was actually introduced as a food source for the family back in the 1700s. Then in 1860, a new herd was introduced. Now this was driven all the way from Cireston Park, which is near Grantham, by men on horseback and dogs. You can imagine that challenge. Like I say, these are flighty animals. They don't like human interaction. So to drive them all the way back then on what wouldn't have been very good road structures at all, on horseback and dogs, would have been a huge feat and challenge. But they did, they got them here. So it is still a privilege to carry on that tradition of having parkland deer here at Revesby. Okay, so I'm going to drop out a couple of bags now of these deer nuts. lay them in long lines for the deer to come and feed. So we've put these deer nuts out now. You can see them laid on the grass. 2 long thin lines, separate lines. Reason for that is the main buck, the bucks, the more dominant ones within the herd will come and eat first. You can see them just watching me down in that corner. So the main buck will come in and start eating. If we was to put these all in a small area in a big pile, the dominant males and some of the dominant does would stand over them and they would eat until they were full, not letting anything else get near it. And there's definitely a pecking order. So by putting them into the thin lines, it just means all the deer can actually get to the nuts and actually have a feed. Make sure they're getting the minerals what they need, especially if the winter becomes harsh. That's what we're more worried about here. At the moment it's not a problem, but we just want to make sure they've got the supplies on them they need to survive out in the wild in a harsh winter. Again, a farmland deer herd, reds would be brought inside in the sheds during the winter to keep them away from the worst of it, but this being a wild herd, have to bear the elements outside. So just by supplementing them like this, we can just ensure they're in their full health. So the herd's not playing ball this morning. I was hoping they were going to come to that feed for you, but they're just being a bit nervous altogether. Now within that herd, so I was hoping to show you the does as they came to feed, but the does will have 2 young at feet with her. They only have 1 offspring per year, but they keep their young with them for 2 years. So she'll have this year's young, which was born in late June, early July, and then she'll have the young from the year previous as well. So she'll always have 2 with her. So you'll see her with 2, one slightly larger and 1 smaller behind her. Now as I came in the park this morning, it was all out in front of me, so I'll just play that clip, and what you'll be able to hear in the distance is the calling, the communication between the mother and her young. Can't see them within here as well. If I can find the bucks, there's a buck in the middle there. You can just see his big palms on top of his head. Within fallow, the big males are actually known as bucks. In red deer, they are known as stags. So just a little bit of difference there between red and fallow. You can just see the buck walking in the background there, his big palms high above. There we go. The big male, that dark buck there is actually the main dominant male. He's first in. As soon as he's in and is okay, in comes the rest of the herd to start feeding. So you can see like the pecking order, the shyer ones waiting at the back there. As initially the more dominant ones feed, but as they start feeding and spreading down the line, they'll all get a chance to come in and feed. You'll see the does looking a bit wary, heads up, ears pricked up. Obviously wild animal, looking out for predators, and I guess for them, they're seeing me as their predator at the moment, so they're keeping an eye on me all the time. The ones which are actually heads down feeding all the time will be the actual young themselves, relying on the mother to be looking out for them. So you can see they're slowly working their way down the line. There's still a fair old way for them to come. They're keeping the distance from me, and the other shy ones in the back aren't coming So I'm going to leave it here now and move out the way to make sure they all get a chance to have a feed.